Okay. Hopefully it's working now. Hopefully, anyway, because I'm seeing it on my channel anyway. Let me find out. Yep, there we go. Let me just go over here. Copy that. Sorry, I gotta put this in all my socials because herple derple. Most everyone don't even know that I'm streaming right now because it's like 10:30 at night over here. Just realized that Captain America drawing is just a little off center. Let me fix that. That's gonna bother me. Looks a little better now. Hopefully that fixed it. It's kind of hard to see, like if you don't know what OBS looks like and stuff, it has like a big like red square on it and stuff like that, and sometimes it can obscure like certain lines. It's time. It's Blue Chungus, sup you dick. This is a late night. Cause I don't sleep well at night. I'm mostly night owl and stuff. Yeah, it's hard for me to like get to sleep during the nighttime, and I actually was asleep earlier, like having a nap and stuff. Like I don't usually fall asleep till like 2 or 3 a.m. or so. So for me, this is actually kind of early. I am streaming. Yes. Was tempted to tweet at Rob Liefeld, but I think the less he knows that I'm doing the series, the better. Yeah, well, not really a series. It's more like maybe 1 or 2 streams, I guess. But I don't really know. Can everybody hear me okay, by the way? Usually I have some technical issues when it comes to streaming. It's why I don't do it as much as I would like to. Also, if everyone can hear me or so, then ignore the hair. It's not greasy. I just showered a few minutes ago. Okay, yeah, it looks centered to me now. Okay, how's everybody doing tonight? Ah, scheiße, I forgot to include the, hang on, okay. Display capture. Whoa. I'm going to try and get this to where it only shows the other page. Okay. Can we do that? Ah! Should have adjusted this beforehand, but again, this is why I'm not exactly great at streaming. Okay, I want to make sure that everybody can read it and stuff. Let me catch up on what the stream is saying and stuff, or what the stream is doing. I think that's good. That's about as good as I can get it. Anyway, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to be going over this website. It's called progressiveboink.com. I don't know if that's what the website has always been called, but that's what it's called right now. And basically, what this is it's a website that has this article called "The Top 40 Worst Rob Liefeld Drawings of All Time." Now, how do I put this? So if you don't know who Rob Liefeld is and stuff, I'll give you a bit of a rundown. He's a comic book artist. He was mostly popular in the 1990s. He's notable for creating Cable and Deadpool specifically. He's also the guy who created Youngblood. He's one of the founders of Image Comics. He still gets work today, by the way. But here's the thing with Rob Liefeld. He gets a lot of flack online. And I mean a lot of flack online. Like, to the point where you think it's a little on the ridiculous side. And I'm talking like unfairly ridiculous. Like I have never seen an artist like harassed as much as Rob Liefeld is. Like I don't like to use the word harassed unless it's like an actual thing that happens, but it's like a daily occurrence for him, especially on Twitter. I hate Twitter. Twitter brings out the worst in people. But Rob Liefeld is so universally hated for how he drew in the 90s nowadays that even the mere act of defending the guy can get you some of that residual hatred. You see this Captain America image right below me? I put that there as a placeholder, just kind of because to kind of like illustrate a point, and I want people to take a good hard look at it. Okay, now that image I won't be discussing beyond this because I'm working on a much longer video, and I'll probably use clips of the stream. Actually, I think I will use clips of the stream in it, depending on what I say and how coherent I can be as part of the video. But this image of Captain America below me is infamous. Everybody and their mother resoundingly despises this drawing. And now my @ is different on Twitter, by the way. So if you're looking for me and stuff, just follow me at Cobalt Crusader. Cobalt with a 0, by the way, not with an O. I just changed my @ I didn't delete Twitter and then reinstall it. I just changed my @ So this image below me is Rob Liefeld's drawing of Captain America. It was never published in any Marvel comic whatsoever. It was pretty much a giveaway. But it made its rounds on the internet for being, so bad. The proportions, bad. And I actually have looked long and hard at this image. And it's kind of jarring at first, but upon like a lot of research I've done, I can defend this image. In fact, in my long video that I will be making I don't know when it'll be out. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on my next episode of Majors Reviews, by the way, but I'm also working on this as a side thing because it's been bothering me so much. It's like on my mind, like almost daily. This Rob Liefeld hatred lives in my head rent-free because it's been something that I've seen nonstop for years. But I can defend this drawing, and I have gotten shit on for doing that. It is a drawing. I have gotten like a lot of hatred for saying stuff like, hey, this drawing's not as bad as you think it is. Like, it really isn't. Like, and in my video, you will see just what I mean by that. It may be some time before I actually do the video, but I will do it eventually. In fact, I'm illustrating exactly what I'm going to talk about with this particular Captain America pose, that people are just kind of looking at it wrong. And I don't want you to think like, oh, how do you look at a drawing wrong? It's like, when I do the full video, trust me, so many people look at this image incorrectly because it's not that bad. And once I actually get a Captain America shield like to my home, and I bought one just for the express purpose of showing how anybody of any size can replicate that pose and make it look just like that. But I need a Captain America shield to prove my point. So we'll actually wait until I get one. And it will be here, don't worry. But anyway, so to the meat of today's topic. And I just wanted to kind of lay that out because if you don't know, a lot of artists nowadays receive a lot of harassment, especially on Twitter. Again, there's another reason why I hate Twitter. I follow a lot of artists on there, mostly porn. Like, I'll be honest with you, I have no shame. If you actually go look at what accounts I follow and stuff on Twitter, you'll see that a lot of it's porn. Trust me, it's like the only reason I'm actually on that platform as often as I am is because of the constant string of anime titty from a lot of artists. And some of them are actually quite good at it. Very good at drawing some big honkin' anime titties. And I like that. I like anime titty. But I do follow a lot of comic pages as well, actually. Not as many as the anime titty, but again, I'm unapologetic about this. But I see so many different artists of independent comic makers, like people who do Comicsgate and stuff. Whether you feel like Comicsgate or so, notwithstanding, okay? A lot of these guys get harassed for it. I once saw the creator of a comic book called Thomas Moria. They got harassed relentlessly by industry professionals calling their work amateur. And here, you know what? Let me just go to Twitter, and I will try and hopefully not see any anime titty for about a few seconds. Thomas Moria. There we go. I will show you this person's art. Yeah, it's showing. Okay. This person's art was called amateur. This. Amateur. Amateur. This is amateur. This was. I don't know. But they're just like a really good recent example of people who I know are getting relentlessly harassed for drawing comic books. And a lot of people who draw, like, you know, busty kind of like women or so, they get harassed for it too. Especially them. People who draw things that are the wrong shade of color, I suppose, they do that too. Like, you know, the skin tones are kind of off a little bit because the person who drew it understands lighting better. I'm dead serious. It happens like every single day on this app. Every single day. And it always comes back to me thinking about Patient Zero, the one artist who has been an industry professional, who has been in the business of making comic books for for well over 30 years, is Rob Liefeld. And he is the one guy who has been relentlessly harassed, lambasted, made fun of, mocked, nonstop. And you cannot openly tackle the issue of artists being harassed for drawing things unless you start at the one guy that everyone thinks it's okay to dunk on. That's why I picked this Captain America image. Just about everybody and their mother tweets this at him at least once a day. I see it all the time. So that's why I began looking at it and kind of dissecting it and seeing if it's really that bad. And guess what? Whenever you see my video, I think you'll actually probably come around to agreeing with me to see that that image is not that bad. But there are other drawings he has done that people have called the worst drawings ever. Now, in nowhere in this live stream or my video, then when I actually make it, are you ever going to see anything that says, let's see you draw like this? Because I'm not going to say that. You know, you don't have to be a chef to know that food tastes bad if you don't like it. You don't have to be a musician to know if somebody plays a song you don't like, okay? That's not the point. The point isn't about whether or not you like his art style. If it's not to your taste, that's completely fine. I think sometimes he draws things that are a bit too extreme for my likings, actually. And sometimes his proportions do put me off. And some of these images that are actually even on this particular list, I'll even say, I'm not a fan of that either. But I've actually read a lot of Rob Liefeld comic books, unlike a lot of people who dunk on the guy. I have read a lot of his early Image stuff. Actually, I've read the entirety of his Youngblood run. I've read a good chunk of his X-Force run. I actually have 2 volumes in the trade, by the way. I mean to get the rest of them, but I've been concerned about how much space I have on my bookshelf. But the more I looked into Rob Liefeld, the more I began to appreciate him as an artist. Because there's one thing that you can say about Rob Liefeld, it's this. He's honest. His art and comic books are the most honest and straightforward things I have ever encountered in this medium. And today, with hyper-political comics being shoved down our throats nonstop to a point where comic book sales are tanking, and that's why Comicsgate even became a thing in the first place, it's amazing to find at least one industry professional who has a lot of pull and a lot of power who just produces cape shit that you just want to read and have a good time with. So maybe it's in hindsight or so, but I don't know. I've been enjoying a lot of Rob Liefeld comics for years, okay? So, join with me, friends, as we go through Progressive Boink's top 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings, just so you can kind of get a your foot in the door to see just how relentless the hatred towards Rob Liefeld is, and how unfair it is, and how really cherry-picky it can be. Because trust me, the grand majority of these drawings can be defended, and I will do that. So, let's begin. This right here is just showing whenever this article was published. It was published back in 2007. So this article is about ballpark it. That what? 14 years old? Yeah, 14 years old. So it's older than a lot of Zoomers who have tweeted at him. So anyway, so this is an image of him making fun of making fun of Rob Liefeld for purchasing Conan's sword at an auction from the first movie. Which, by the way, Liefeld, you better hide that sword for me if I ever visit your house. I'm kidding. I'm never going to visit Rob Liefeld's house because there's no way that he would ever invite me over. I mean, it'd be cool. I would love to see that sword in person. Like, I would go to his house just so I can see the sword. That is my favorite movie ever. But, you know, it's just them making fun of Rob Liefeld for saying stuff like, oh, yeah, Schwarzenegger would be a cool president or something like that. And, you know, whatever. You know, I think around this time, wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor of California? I don't know. Like, does anybody know when Schwarzenegger was governor of California? So, I don't know how old the guy who wrote this article is. But he said he was about 10 years old when he first started reading Rob Liefeld books. Then he says he makes fun of him for having his own Levi's commercial directed by Spike Lee in the 90s. Yes, that happened. I don't know what this is. I don't care. So, here we get to the actual meat. Here's number 40. This is what a woman looks like to Rob Liefeld. I can't even kid about this. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. 2007 was a different time. She's wearing a string of pouches where her stomach should be, but could not possibly be, and both her thighs and forearms are bigger than her abdomen. She has a big ol' ass and torpedo tits, and I genuinely think that when Rob finished drawing her, he sat back, frowned, looked over at his friend, and said, "Yikes, sorry, guy." And they started drawing teenagers for DC Comics. Looks fine to me. Both images look fine to me. No kidding. What we're exploring isn't an artist we don't like. No, it really is an artist you don't like. We argue about that. Bill will like one guy and I'll like another, but we generally don't wish ill on the guys, nor do we hope for their gainful unemployment. We're exploring something so abstruse, or never heard of, and offensive that our Mortal Kombat-ridden childhood comes back to uppercut off our level heads 3 times and rip out our spine in that sentence. Spine is meant to represent, holy shit, what is wrong with fucking Rob Liefeld? Have you never seen a contortionist? Like, I hate to break this to you, but there are women who actually do have that figure. Like, this isn't, like, rocket science. On top of that, like, so what? He drew a woman with a butt and boobs. Last time I checked, women have butt and boobs anyway. Like, I don't get this. Like, what's he critiquing primarily? Like, like, he says the forearms are actually, like, larger than her waist. Forearms, depending on their size or so, can actually be about as big as someone's waist is from the side. Like, have you ever seen anybody suck in their hips? I've seen some bodybuilders who are male have forearms this big, and they're about as thick as their waistline is because they can do a vacuum pose. And that's men. We're talking men here. We're not talking women who are much more naturally thin than guys are, typically speaking, of course. So, yeah, I don't get this point. Like, is it because she's bending here? It's like, again, have you seen a contortionist? So yeah, this is his leading point. Weak. Okay, I actually have this comic. Yeah, that's the last issue of New Mutants. Actually, I think it's New Mutants number 100. Yeah, I have it in trade. Now, his critique with it is that the hand is wrong. Like, the fingers are not where they should be. I can debunk that right here. I have my Crusader helmet right here. I think it's cool, by the way. It looks like he's holding it like this. Wow. My fingers must be going in the wrong order. Imagine critiquing a guy's drawing, thinking that this is one of the worst things he's ever put out, and it's because you can't fathom somebody can put their fingers like this. Weak sauce. I'm not even gonna bother reading that. Oh, hey, I have this one too. X-Force number 3. Great comic, by the way. That's fun, by the way. This comic is really awesome. It's whenever the X-Force like raid like New York City and stuff like that, and Juggernaut just got revived and stuff, and it leads to this awesome clash between like Warpath and Juggernaut at first and stuff, and then the other guys of X-Force and Spider-Man get involved, and it's a lot of fun, you know, watching them like slug it out with one of their A-list powerhouses in Marvel. It really does like put over how good this team is, even though they just got put together. Now, what's wrong with this image, you might ask? Well, I'll let you know. For the record, I actually have read this article before, so I forgot what the word abstruse. I still don't know what that means. I don't really care. His issue with it is the feet. Yes, Rob Liefeld is known for drawing tiny feet. See here. Who among us walks, apparently. Among us walks the Juggernaut. Yes, because he just got revived. That was... He walks again. That's... Duh. By the way, can I just say that? Stop and say that Juggernaut looks awesome in this. Like, I love the way Rob Liefeld draws Juggernaut. Which, by the way, I don't understand how people criticize Rob Liefeld for drawing big dudes. I mean, we all like it when Bendis draws dudes like Juggernaut, and he draws them pretty proportionally the same way that Rob Liefeld does. Let's see here. They all appear to be battling atop of some boulder. Doesn't matter. Which serves the purpose of the covering up the feet of Juggernaut, Warpath, and Cable. Yeah, but you can still see Shatterstar's feet and Spider-Man's feet. What's your point? Let's see. Just the Juggernaut. I don't understand it. Like, you know, like if his argument is that that Rob Liefeld is trying to hide how he draws feet, then I got a question. Dead center of the page is Shatterstar's freaking foot. It's like, look, if you think Rob Liefeld drew feet a little too small in the 90s, that's whatever. To me, it was a stylistic choice, and whatever, it didn't matter. And if you want to say that Rob Liefeld likes to hide feet behind like clouds of smoke or by hilltops like that, you know, whatever. If that's your bag, it's fine. But if you ask me, that's kind of like saying that an artist knows their strengths and is focusing on their strengths instead of letting their weaknesses show out. So instead of getting mad at Rob Liefeld for hiding the feet that you already make fun of him for, yeah, like why wouldn't he hide the feet? You're gonna make fun of him if he didn't hide the feet, and you're making fun of him if he does. You know, it's like he loses. If your whole point is why do you just draw the feet bigger or something like that? It's like, well, it's a comic book. They're proportionally, it's fine. Everybody has exaggerated proportions in comic books. It's ridiculous. Hey, look, more feet. Herder. Rob Liefeld hate drawing feet, so here's more images of him drawing feet to prove how he hates drawing feet. I'm smart. I don't mean to sound like a dick in this, but this guy does kind of like get really aggressive in this article. But that's kind of what it feels like, you know. You critique Rob Liefeld for not showing feet, and then he actually shows feet. Let me see. This chat was not updating at all, by the way. Okay. Let's see. It's like engaging in. It's like it's engaging, and the action blast in your face fits the 90s aesthetic. Yes, agreed. I think Rob Liefeld was the right artist at the right time. You know, like he ultimately drew things that people wanted to see and stuff. And in the 1990s, it was all about the action. Yeah. But yeah, I see people making fun of Pat Lee. Now, Pat Lee is a guy that I think can be defended, but he's a little bit harder to defend. I'm not too fond of Pat Lee. I don't think he's a terrible artist, but my God, his stuff on Transformers is, woo, that's bad. Now, may I ask what's wrong with this image right here, though? Like, proportionally, it's fine, it's centered, it's stylistic, you know? We got Youngblood's Shaft here, and Valiant Comics' Bloodshot here, which I think I actually have. I have a copy of Bloodshot #1 somewhere, like the original Bloodshot #1. I have a bunch of like old Valiant comics, including like the first 10 issues of Turok Dinosaur Hunter, which you're never gonna see in a trade anywhere. So, it sucks because Turok's license is a pain in the butt. Which sucks because Valiant's Turok is amazing, you know? Fighting cyborg, super intelligent raptors with a machine gun while driving around a 1950s Chevy. No, it's a 1950s Cadillac, okay? That's awesome. That's amazing. Seriously, like, track down Turok Dinosaur Hunter if you can. It might be a little expensive or so, or find scans of it. You know, if they're not going to reprint it, you know, who cares? Pirate it. But read Turok Dinosaur Hunter. It's amazing. What's wrong with this image, though? Like Youngblood, Deathshot, Deathmate Red, this blood's for you. Who needs to explain why they're jumping together in front of a yellow wall with a spotlight on them? How can you even tell there's a spotlight on them? Because the shadows and stuff? I mean, whatever. Why do I think guns have 2 spots in the barrels that come out? Because they're laser pistols? That's kind of how he drew laser pistols. It's death, blood, mate shot, So what? So what? You're critiquing a guy because of what the title of the book is? What's wrong with the art? The answer, nothing. Like, nothing is wrong with this. It's dynamic. It's drawn well. It's centered well. You know, it's letting you know that, hey, Shaft from Youngblood and Bloodshot from Valiant are the stars of Deathmate Red. Footgate. I have to go to bed because tomorrow I'm throwing money at you and running away. Thanks for content, Red Barbarian. Hey, thanks for the $5, ReviewTube 2012. Have a good night. Hopefully you'll be able to check out the rest of the stream tomorrow because eventually I'll be uploading stuff like that. But thanks, ReviewTube. You gave me the first donation of this stream. Immediately already, that's made the stream worth it to me because I didn't know if anybody was even going to want to watch this. So thank you. I earned $5 for this. That's pretty cool. Thank you. No, seriously, thank you. Like, you know, I know money's tight, but thank you. Later, Nephi, the space warrior, go into space and save us all from the alien menace, whoever these people are. Anyway, okay. So here's one. Now here's one of Rob Liefeld's like funny things about him or so. If you can't tell, holy God, does he draw huge crotches. Like, whoa! What are these guys packing in Rob Liefeld books and stuff like that, you know? Like, whoa, dude! He's got junk! So, hey, if you ever got, like, upset by how, like, you know, Rob Liefeld draws, like, you know, women, let me know. He draws dudes front and center with their junk, like, emphasized and stuff all the time. He still does that, by the way. And they all have, like, huge packages. I think that's his name again. His name's... Is it Kane? No, is it Kane? It might be, actually. Like, I think there's, like, there might be 2 characters in Marvel Comics that are named Kane. I know he's the new Weapon X or something like that. As you can see, Deadpool there. So, careful high costume. Half jacket, turtleneck, matching dance troupe gloves, and oh yes, gigantic area. If you're critiquing how he designs, like, costumes and stuff like that, you know, I mean, that's whatever and stuff. I think it looks cool. Hey, no feet in this one. I think it's interesting that he's making fun of him for not showing feet, when literally the last one you can see both, again, Bloodshot and Shaft's feet here, front and center. But, you know, feet bad. Footgate. You know, I'm just going to assume anybody who gets mad at Rob Life for not drawing feet has a secret foot fetish, you know. I'll give you $5 for feet pics, BB. Yes, Kane is a Spider-Man clone, actually. Which probably, I actually really like Kane from Spider-Man. I think he has a really, really cool design. Like, have you guys ever seen Kane from Spider-Man? Like, he's currently the new Scarlet Spider right now. His name is Kane Parker. But my God, does he have a cool costume in the 90s? Like, look at this costume. Like, I don't care if it's 90s as fuck. Okay, I do not care. I love Kane Parker's costume from the Clone Saga, okay? That's cool. That's cool. His new costume's okay. I like it too, but man, I wish they would bring this back. It's got everything I like, you know? It's got a nice color balance, it's got a cool, like, blue sleek to it, it's got the awesome, like, 90s long hair coming out of that. That is cool. Like I would cosplay that. No joke. I would cosplay Kane Parker if I knew how to make that fabric. But yeah, Kane is awesome. Is it named? Let's see here. Kane X-Force. I think it's another Kane anyway. Yeah, I think his name is, Scheisse, what's his name again? Garrison Kane. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, see, this is Garrison Kane. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is his first debut. This is when he was announced as the brand new Weapon X. Actually, I think I came across. Yeah, it was this actually. I was about to mention that I came across this toy out in the wild once. I was tempted to buy it actually, but I didn't know where I'd put it. But yeah, Kane though. Kane's an alright character. I don't hate him. I don't particularly dislike him. I don't really care too much for him. I just like his costume. He's actually really cool. He has metal arms so that he can shoot his hands out like rockets and stuff like that. And he can like shoot laser blasts out of his hands. It's very like kids toy-ish. I love it. But if his issue with this drawing is that he has a huge junk, it's like, hey, speaking as a guy who has a huge member, it's like, I'm sorry. Little TMI there for fun, but, you know, we're having fun here. We're having fun. But yeah, like, what's wrong with this? Nothing. The answer is nothing. Humble bragging. There ain't nothing humble about this, honey. Nothing humble. Okay, here we go. 35. He mentions the character Forearms. Yeah, his name is Forearms. Can you guess why he's called Forearms? It's because he has 4 arms. Very smart. His issue is where this arm is coming out at. I have a question. Hello, Red Hood 579. I have a question. How many guys do you know that actually have 4 arms in real life? Like, I mean, if that's not how a person with 4 arms is supposed to be drawn, then why don't we find the actual real people with huge 4 arms and ask them where their forearms come out at, you know? Let's anatomically dissect this. Where does a real person with 4 arms come out at? Nowhere. Nowhere. It's fake. You're criticizing a guy for where he put the 4th arm on a comic character. Okay. For the record, it's actually, this is actually a really cool drawing of 4 arms, by the way. Like, he's not a big name, like, you know, superhero character and stuff. Or villain whatsoever, you know. His power is, me big strong guy, me have 4 arms, Rob. But I don't know, I've always thought this drawing of him was really cool. I was hoping I would find that on a quick Google search, and I did. So cool. Oh yeah, Goro and Kentaro and Shiva are totally real, you know? Like, I went down to the store the other day, and I swear to God, I saw like 3 of these guys. Yeah, they're all built like this, you know? Like, criticizing the anatomy of an individual with 4 arms. I cannot believe this is a thing that this was criticized. Okay, here's one I think he might have a point on. The perspective is weird. For starters, it looks like Cable's left arm is in the tub and stuff, but it's still the same length as his right arm and stuff. On top of that, he's supposed to be in the tub with Domino. And if you don't know this, Domino ain't exactly an Amazon, okay? She's not nearly as big as Cable is huge. Like, here, I'll pull this up. Cable and Domino. Like, Cable and Domino are not exactly the same height. Oh, wait. Actually, they might be. Yeah, this is a Rob Liefeld drawing. They might actually be the same height. I might actually be wrong on this one. Huh. Yeah, they're close to the same height, you know. Oh, look at that. That's cute. Very cute. Yeah, never mind. I was wrong. So it looks like Domino, I thought she was much shorter than Cable was actually, but no, they're apparently the same height. So maybe this proportion actually does make sense. Okay. I was wrong. My only issue now is the fact that his left arm is in the tub when his right arm isn't, but they're the same length and the same like spot clearly. I don't know. So yeah, I was wrong on that one. So I guess both the creator of this article and me were both wrong about this. That is probably pretty accurate to what Domino is supposed to be in relation to Cable size. Okay. See, unlike a lot of people, I can actually admit when I mess up. Here we go. Cable and Deadpool. What's wrong with this? That gun is totally bending in the middle, right? That's not just me. I don't know. Let's find out. Maybe, but probably not. It just could just be a trick of your eyes. Like it looks like it might be bending. I don't know. Like is that? Hey everybody, does this image look like it's looks like it's bending to you in the It looks more like it's becoming at an angle or so, and it just kind of gives the illusion of it's bending if you're looking at it in a specific way. I don't know. It looks fine to me, but if his issue is that the gun looks like it's bending, And he's like rucksacks, swords, knives, cigars, like, you know, these things, but it's kind of picking out of them and stuff like that. I don't know what those are personally. I just thought it was just the thing that he just liked to draw. Why is Cable 6 times bigger than Deadpool? I don't know. Maybe it's because Cable is huge and Deadpool is not that tall. It's like, it's pretty consistent that characters are different heights. Like, Cable has always been depicted as a bit beefier than Deadpool is. Like, have you not seen the game? Like, look at this. Imagine looking at these two characters and going, why is one character bigger than the other? You mean like how I'm taller than most of my friends are? I'm sorry, most of my friends are not 6'3" like I am. And you know what? My friend Dave is like 6'5". Why is Dave taller than me? I don't know. People are just different body sizes. This is how nitpicky these people are. They are looking at two characters of two different heights and body structures, and then getting upset about it. That's how... I can't believe that. Okay. How to draw comics the Marvel way. Drawing comics in the style of Detective Comics. Aping this shit the Valiant way. Another drawing tutorial I've been a part of clearly says that been a part of. Oh, you've actually worked on those. Okay. I've actually seen How to Draw Comics the Marvel way, and I don't recall this individual's name. Let me find out. Who's this person? You know what? Forget it. I don't want to, like, make it personal. I don't want to, like, pull up their name and look up see if they're actually telling the truth. So they may actually, you know, I'll just take their word for it. Maybe they are a producer or something. When you're drawing children or sexy young women, you give them clean surfaces to suggest youth and tightness of veins. This is true. When you draw Clint Eastwood in an eye patch hanging out with Gen 13, you draw all over his face, let people know he's old. Every line can equal to a year added on the life of your character and stuff. This is actually true. Yeah, it is said if you want to make a character look older, you draw more lines in their face. I don't think his point is depicting what he thinks he's depicting or so. Is he making fun of the shading here? Like the lines here or so, or the lines on his face right here or so? Because Shaft is always... Because this is kind of how Rob Liefeld draws things. Yeah, Elder Rusty said Deadpool is crouching too in this. You know, I forgot to bring that up. But yeah, Deadpool is just crouching here, and he's also a full foot shorter than Cable is. So yeah, it's like he's much smaller than Deadpool is. Like, imagine getting mad at that. Why is he 6 times bigger than Deadpool? Look how big his left arm must be. Looks pretty fine to me. About as big as this arm is. But yeah, like if his issue here is the line work on his face and stuff, like what else is wrong with it? Like personally speaking, I think the eyes are a little weird on Shaft and stuff. I think Liefeld kind of he got this art style going at the time. I've read again most of early Youngblood, if not all of it, and they all do kind of have like really like slanty eyes, sometimes like really narrow eyes. You know, they're kind of like really small. But that's my only really critique of it. It's one thing I didn't really like all that much about a lot of image Liefeld at the time. But if he's complaining about this or so, or the lines here, I don't know. Like I've seen Razor Fist actually shade with these little line technique and stuff. I think it looks neat. I think it's a unique way of shading. See here, look, it names him Shaft. So if you don't, okay, here's the thing about this. This was actually supposed to be Roy Harper. Like Youngblood was a reworked version of a, I think it was a Teen Titans book that Liefeld was supposed to be working on for DC Comics, and Shaft was meant to be Roy Harper, and he just took that and transplanted it into his own comic universe and created Shaft. Okay. He doesn't look like Rob Liefeld. He looks like Roy Harper. You never seen Roy Harper? Like, this is Roy Harper. He looks like Shaft, dude. See? They look pretty much identical to each other. They look like each other. Hope stream says after it's finished. It should stay up. I don't think I'll be getting any copyright claims. I'm not using any music or anything. I'm just reading a website. Okay. Remember what I said about Rob Liefeld drawing emphasis to the crotches? Yeah, this is what I was talking about. See? He still does that, by the way. It's very recognizable. If you see any character like with this particular like line work style to the crotches, it's a Liefeld drawing, most likely. You know what? Even if this dude weren't Quadzilla, there's no way he'd be able to put his legs together with all those pouches and garters and whatever. He's in the Arctic! Try putting your legs together in Arctic gear anyway. Funnily enough, there actually is a bodybuilder named Quadzilla. He's dead now, but that's not a bodybuilder. That's a thing. But yeah, this is actually what the guy named Quadzilla was. Like, and he can put his legs together just fine. Which, by the way, that's the thing about Rob Liefeld. He draws a lot. He uses bodybuilders and stuff for a lot of his referencing. So expect to see a lot of. So what a shock! The guys he draws are really beefy. I may close Facebook. Actually, I don't really need that open right now. I don't want to open that accidentally again. What purpose could that possibly serve? His pants are so uncomfortably tight, his groin is puckering to some sort of overachieving asterisk. You mean the little technique I just pointed out right here? He draws everybody like that. That's just a Rob Liefeld quirk. His belt is just under the nipples. No, it's not. His nipples are clearly like... I don't know. Actually, no. You know what? Never mind. Take it back. I can't see his nipples because he's wearing a shirt. You ever seen anybody like wear like high pants and stuff like that in Arctic gear? That's kind of like a Liefeld thing. He draws like people with a lot of stuff on them, especially in the 90s. He doesn't do that much anymore, but in the 90s, yeah, that's kind of what he did a lot of. Knee pads. Look, okay, here's what I think if he gets aggressive. In conclusion, I hate Rob Liefeld, and he should be thrown into a well. For drawing knee pads? You want to throw a man into a well for drawing things you don't like? Like, I know he's probably just being a joke, you know. This is like the mid-2000s, you know, hyperbolic, edgy humor was kind of the thing here and stuff, but isn't that a bit silly to think that somebody should be tossed into a well because you don't like how they draw superhero books? Come on, man. Time and place. Okay. Imagine me at 12 getting to read a comic about how the big black naked bodybuilder uses the girl he dates. Now imagine me at 27. Oh, he's 27 he wrote this. Okay. Laughing at how skeevy it is, and then noticing an absolute cavalcade of illogical nonsense horseshit about it. Nothing in these panels makes sense. I get what he's going for. He sits down at his drawing desk with his button fly jeans and his backwards baseball cap, rubbing his chin. We get it, dude. You're writing fan fiction. Okay. It's 1:11 p.m. That's early afternoon, Chapel. Congrats for another night, another love. He uses the colloquial phrase, my man, to show that sex with bras is no big D. And it says he's above ground. It says, have you never heard of the concept of being able to dim lights in a room? And what? You're criticizing him for having a guy wake up at 1 p.m.? Like, dude, have you never pulled an all-nighter? An all-nighter before? Like, I woke up at like 3 p.m. today. That's not that unbelievable. Imagine being so nitpicky that this is actually a critique. A legitimate critique is that he cannot believe that somebody woke up at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. You know what? I'm not going to draw the other hand. Too tricky. We talking about no one's going to notice. He clearly has the other hand behind the sword. Like, I don't think it's shown very well, but it's very clearly that he's doing this little number. Easy. Ah, here we go. Look out. Bitch fight in front of the furnace. They're in a lab. I've read this comic. Prophet, a time displaced hero who needs an asshole of adamantium to carry that many pouches around his thigh. Yes, because when you carry things on your thigh, it matters about how dense your pucker butthole is. Well, Bale Hanstock thought he was dropping a big leg on comments. Then my Prophet is doing a Bronco Buster, and combat is counting with a foot to the dick. Whatever is happening. Hey, you know, if you actually cut like one panel out of a comic book fight scene or so, it can look ridiculous when you show it to people out of context because it's one small panel and part of an overall big fight scene. If you want to know what actually happened in this book scene, it's because when he knocked Combat down, Combat kicked him in the stomach. And now he's going flying. But you would know that if you actually read the book. It's almost like if you cut things out of context, you can make things look as bad as you want them to. All grimacing all the time. To be fair, you would grimace too if your neck was doing that. You're making fun of a character for doing this? Like, yes, I know Rob Liefeld like to draw grimaces all the time and stuff, but so what? If that's what he knows how to draw, let him draw grimaces. Oh, get this. Let's see here. How do you get perfect symmetrical tears in your pants like that? Are you actually criticizing tears on jeans because they happen to match? Like this is a point of critique. The location of tears on pants. God. You see why I defend Liefeld so much? Like, this is silly. This is silly. This landed on a list of the worst Liefeld drawings because of grimacing faces and tears on jeans. That's silly. That's absolutely silly. Okay. When one was taking a shit. I'm pretty terrified by this drawing, honestly. This looks very like it should be an issue of Heavy Metal with very different things happening, because that expression, Liefeld's approach drawing, with fat lips and plenty of eyeliner. It looks fine to me. I actually like how Liefeld draws like women's faces nowadays. I think it looks nice. Let me refresh the chat and see if anyone's saying anything. Nope, nothing so far. I think everyone's just kind of... If you guys are watching, you're probably just invested in what I'm saying, which is cool. Okay. Say where her fist is re-enters in the same frame. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up real fast and see if I can do it. Okay, how about this? Hey, guys! My arm must enter the frame at the wrong spot. Clearly, it just does this little number, and not, I don't know, bending at the elbow? Like, it's very clear that her arm goes down to about right here and comes back up, and then it goes down here, and her forearm is, like, right here. Like, that is, like, you can literally just... Ugh. This is the worst drawing. It's like number 26 on the worst drawings because this guy can't figure out that her elbow does not in fact go at a at like a U shape. So then you have to create the illusion of movement. But I think what is more important is the illusion of me not hating you. Then you probably shouldn't read comics because everybody does stuff like this. It's a what's weird is what I want to go back to that thing you said a minute ago where he said he worked on like these how to draw videos and stuff like that. Well, if he actually like watched how to draw comics the Marvel way, then you would know that that's actually a common technique is to make things look dramatic as possible. Like, you make people do, like, really wide stances and stuff like that to illustrate not just movement, but also drama, to make things look more dramatic and janky. Of course, real people don't do this when they're about to run, you know? We're not Sonic the Hedgehog or Naruto doing this. But it has to look dynamic because you're trying to tell a story, you know? You're trying to make every single page kind of, like, have some energy to it. That's how they tell you to draw comic books. Okay, here's one I can kind of see. I think the proportions on Cable here are a little weird for me, and I've read this issue. I have it in this raid. I don't know specifically what issue of X-Force it is. I know that they're training at their base and stuff like that. It's like some kind of like a field training operation like that. But I always thought the sandwich was kind of weird looking because it looks like his hips kind of like rejoin here and his like torso is like really, really small and stuff. His arms, everything right here looks fine or so. Like if you like here, I'll just if you like covered up this, it looks. I mean, if you like covered to about let's see, about like right there, it looks fine. But then when you see like how like his body is and stuff like that, it's for the most part it's kind of wonky. Plus, some of that I don't see a trigger on this gun. I think this one might be a genuine mistake that he just kind of had to let slide. Which, by the way, that's not actually too uncommon of a thing in comic books. Especially considering at how fast they were being, like, printed out in the 90s. If you don't think about comic books in the 90s or so, you know that there was a big, like, consumer market or so where they were trying to get as many books as they possibly could, and Liefeld was one of those guys that they were constantly going back to for that express purpose. Like, I think, like, this is one of those examples where he just, like, whatever, I got, like 30 other pages I gotta draw this afternoon, so let's go ahead and let this one go. So, you can have this one. I don't think it's a terrible drawing, but you can have this one. The proportions are a little weird, especially for Cable. He looks a bit too thin, a bit off model. I don't see the trigger on the gun. I don't even know how he's holding it. So, you can have that one. Who said it wasn't fair? But Danny, the man draw too many muscles. It no look good. Yes. Okay. Well, let's see. Trace out exactly where the borders are for vagina are. In case anyone's wondering, wait, someone did put her legs on sideways. Oh well, I'd hit it. Again, with the crotch thing, you know that I literally he literally posted one earlier where all the guys had like more lines drawing where their bulges were, and he literally showed Kane with a huge freaking cup size. Okay, like. And now he's criticizing that he did the same thing for women, but not quite as excessive. Like, I wouldn't even notice this little line right here where her vagina is supposed to be, where her hips are at, until he pointed it out. And he said he put her leg on the wrong side. Have you never seen anybody cross their legs like that? Like, you could literally do that sitting at your desk right now. Like, just stand up. You can just literally, like, fold your feet like that. That's not that hard. Okay, what's wrong with this cover, you know? Like, I don't know about you, but I like a lot of early 90s comic books and stuff with Cable, especially if he's got, like, a big honking gun on it. Like, that's awesome. Big honking guns. Yes, more guns. How big should Cable's gun be? The answer, my friends, is yes. It should be that big. See, Liefeld gets it. Liefeld gets it. If you're going to have a character whose thing is cyborg with big honking guns, you better give them a big honking gun. Pew pew. So what's wrong with it? That is literally what his point is. Like, the gun is too big. Imagine getting mad at a guy who is known for drawing big guns. For drawing a big gun. Making a fist or tossing a gun there like that, right? Ah! I forgot you can do that. Okay. Yeah, it looks like he's just kind of holding a fist or so, and that's one thing I can kind of criticize Liefeld for. Sometimes he just draws a fist and just kind of slaps something on it and stuff. That's one thing you can criticize him for, and I've seen it myself, and it kind of bothers me a little bit. But whatever, you know, I can tell he's holding a gun. Look at Cable's thigh. This is not normal. Well, you know what else isn't normal? A psychic cyborg, a woman who has the superpower of luck, teaming up with an extra-dimensional super soldier. You know what else? That's not normal either. Like, his thigh, again, you do know how big Cable is, right? He's like, if you actually, I don't have it anywhere, but if you actually have a copy of like X-Force #1 somewhere, they actually gave away like trading cards with it, and with them was a card that had Cable and his buy stats on it. Apparently he weighs like well over 400 pounds. Have you ever seen a 400-pound guy who's all muscle? Like Hafthor Bjornsson is a 400-pound guy who's like mostly muscle. The dude's a freaking behemoth. Like, you ever seen the dude's legs? Like look at this man. Like, put him next to, like, a regular person. Let's see. Yeah, look, here's him next to Conor McGregor. Look at how much bigger he is than Conor McGregor and how big his legs are compared to Conor's. It's like... It's like, are we surprised? The large, cyborg, muscle character with big guns also has big legs? Ah! Oh. You're not my I'm not saying that. I don't want anybody to clip that. Nobody clip that. I'm not saying that. It's supposed to look creepy, I guess. You know, like more surprise and whatnot. I don't know. Like, it looks weird and unsettling, but I can tell it's a kid. So I know who cares. Okay, here we go. Another case of where I think Liefeld may have messed up or so. You can probably make the argument here that, you know, like, he has the pouches, like, underneath it or so, or if it's maybe it's, like, a little bending right here or something like that. I don't know. This is one that you can probably give to the creator of this article that it's probably a mess up or so on his part. Again, like that, again, like how it was at the time or so, you know, just get it out, it's fine. You know, it's not important. It's just Shatterstar standing there with guns and swords anyway. Yeah. Welcome to the 90s. Guns, swords, and long hair. And it was awesome! Is it any wonder why it took so long for comics to be a socially acceptable artistic medium? Yeah, is that why in the 1990s or so, they were actually selling millions of copies per comic book almost? And nowadays, they're lucky to sell 10,000 units? Oh, yeah, real socially acceptable. Now, to be fair, this is in 2007, but it's not like comic books were pulling huge numbers in 07 versus they were in the 90s either. Like, I don't think it's fair. Why are you defending Liefeld? I think he gets way too much hatred from people online about his art. That's all. Like, I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream or stuff, you're coming in late, but it's because people like to harass the poor dude over his art and stuff. I don't think it's cool. So I'm going over like a bunch of his more infamous drawings to kind of defend him and just kind of point out how, hey, these are not as bad as people think they are. Okay, we're just halfway through this list. I've been streaming for over an hour. I'm just halfway through this list. I may have to break this stream up into like, because by the way, there are 3 parts to this article. Yeah, this is just the first one. Oh, here's one that always bothers me. Here's a gameplay. Which one of those fingers is a thumb? Give up, so did Rob Liefeld. Here's the thumb. This is the thumb right here. Because you can tell that it is thicker than this one, which is the pinky. Plus, if you also can't tell, you can very clearly see that it was his left hand that got cut off. And if you do this with your left hand, you can see the thumb would be on the bottom. Imagine criticizing an artist because you don't know where the thumb is on the left hand. That's how nitpicky these people are. They don't put a fraction of thought into their critique. It's actually kind of obnoxious when they do that. Like, it's frustrating. It really is. Like, poor Rob Liefeld gets harassed relentlessly because of articles just like this one. Like, I've seen it shared numerous times. It still gets shared. It still gets shared and thrown at the poor guy. And this is what they have on it. Number 20 of, like, literally the halfway point of the first one of these, and there are 3 others again, so 120 in total. The first one that was ever made. This image was the halfway point, and it's because the author didn't know where the thumb on a left hand was. You can just hold your hand up and you can figure out what it is again. It's right here. Ah. Yes. Blood Wolf. I remember this. He's criticizing this. That prepares Lobo by drawing Lobo different colors and having him be there with Lobo. Yeah, that was a joke. You know, it's like Liefeld was in on the joke. You don't know who Blood Wolf is? Let me pull it up. I don't know who Aridian Saif is. God, Blood Wolf is so 90s. Look at that hair. Look at that. Ah! I love it. I love it. It's so 90s. It's so Liefeld. It's perfect. Like, you know, like if you're gonna have Liefeld parody himself and stuff, you know, this is the kind of character you'd expect him to make. Which, by the way, it's funny because Lobo is actually another word for wolf, so him calling it Blood Wolf is kind of like, it's like on the nose. Like, I know, like he knows he's in on the joke. He still draws him. Check it out. Like, he put him in Brigade and everything. And by the way, doesn't me or does Blood Wolf look kind of like the cyborg dude from Chrono Cross? I can't remember his name. Kind of the same hair. I know he kind of gives me that vibe. Let's take a small break, actually, and I'll look up who Aridian Saif is. Never heard of this guy. Oh, this guy! I was like, that doesn't look too bad. Then I see, I'm like, oh, this guy. Ah, yeah, okay. I can't defend this dude at all. Like, I mean, you might think his art looks fine and stuff, but here's the thing. This dude put anti-Semitic phrases into an X-Men comic he was hired. Like, this is supposed to be like a verse from the Quran or something like that about how you shouldn't trust infidels. I forget what this is supposed to be referenced to, but this one right here is the most egregious one, right? If you look closely. This is Kitty Pryde standing here, and he put jewelry next to her head. Yes, Kitty Pryde happens to be Jewish, and he put jewelry next to her head in the same comic that he put anti-Semitic, like, Quran verses in it. Okay, yeah, I can't defend this guy. I'm not gonna step in. Like, you can see he draws fine, his anatomy is fine or so, but whoa, man, that he got canned and he got rightfully canned. That's not cool, man. That is not cool. But yes, Molly, he did do that. Razor Fist has a video about that, actually. I highly recommend watching if you don't know who this guy is or so. I thought that name sounded kind of familiar, but I don't know. Like, so yeah, you know, say about Liefeld. Say what you want about him and how, if you don't like his art style, that's fine. But at least he never put anti-Semitic stuff in any of his comics. Okay, so here's one when I say, like, you know, I don't get mad about Liefeld whenever he draws, like, sexualized women or so. Which, by the way, that by itself is not a problem, you know. I don't mind like big titty women in comics. In fact, I miss that. I miss when you can just have a character be attractive in comics without being some big social issue. But here's one reason why I don't get mad at him. As you can clearly see, he drew Human Torch's butt so firm. Like, I'm straight, but even I would lay a handprint on that. What vid of Razor Fist? Hang on, Razor Fist X-Men. Let me find out. Let me go ahead and pull it up real fast. Let's see. This one right here. Marvel goes full fatwa. But this is where he criticized that Iridian Syaf guy. So how many male characters are buffs? The answer for a Liefeld comic, 99% of them. Everybody's got big honking muscles in a Rob Liefeld comic. I wish I was in a Rob Liefeld comic, because then I, too, would be big honking man. Instead of medium-sized man. But yeah, like this drawing is fine. It just looks weird out of context and stuff. Again, it's almost like if you you take him out of context and stuff, you can make him look ridiculous. Well, that's kind of no. A lot of people have been comparing Obari to Liefeld. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to call Obari like Liefeld either. I better turn safe search on. Yeah, hang on. Masami Obari Fatal Fury. I'll just type that in because I'm pretty sure I won't get many results that are bad. For the record, I'm kind of scared to look up Obari stuff on a stream or so. I might get hit with something because if you don't know this, Masami Obari is a director who did one of my personal favorite things of all time, the Fatal Fury anime. If you haven't seen them, I've sung their praises enough. You should know by now. I love them. But he's the guy who did the art for them. But he also draws porn. A lot of porn. So I'm kind of trying to be careful. Let me hide explicit results, actually. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Let me do that. If you don't know Masami Obari, he does that a lot. Tosif Samal. I don't think Ultimate Warrior will be making comics anytime soon, considering he has come down with a case of death. Probably, I've been trying to track down those comics because you know I love the Ultimate Warrior. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I would love to like have like all of his comics, like, all 4 of them. 5 if you count the Christmas one. So I can find some that's not like going to be like pornographic or so. It's kind of hard. I don't want to get like hit with a ban. But yeah, Obari gets called like Liefeld a lot or so because of how he draws people in really exaggerated poses. So, but here's the thing: Obari mostly draws robots. Like, I don't get why people say that Obari, this is him by the way, why they say that he's like Rob Liefeld. Like, I feel like Bennett the Sage is the guy who kind of created that. So the same people who complain about female characters in anime while are at the same time defends male characters in yaoi, shoujo, reverse harems. Yeah, same ones. There were 5 of them. Yeah, I think there were 5 comics or so. There was like 4 issues of it. I think I may be wrong. It's been a while since I've actually looked this up. But I know there were there's more than 2. There's number 1, 2. I know there's at least 3 of the main comics in the Christmas issue. Yeah, Obari did do Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser. He actually did the art for the game as well as the anime. Which, by the way, Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser, terrible anime. Terrible. But my god, is it fun and worth the watch. You need to check out Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser. Like, seriously, it's like one of the perfect bad anime. I'm gonna get off track if I keep talking about it, because I love this shit. I love Masami Obari's art. Like, Obari is an amazing artist. I don't know why he gets crapped on. I know he draws people a bit stylistically or so, but it's like, it's anime, you know? It's like, what are you expecting, realism in anime? But yeah, he draws things very cheesecakey or so. I don't think it's... I don't think calling him the Liefeld... By the way, being called the Liefeld of your art, of whatever art style you're in or so is not, in and of itself, a bad thing. Liefeld is a very worldwide famous artist. He has the second best-selling comic book of all time, created one of the biggest comic companies of all time, has an instantly recognizable art style, still gets work in the industry today or so, and has a backlog of characters that he's created. He's literally the co-creator of Deadpool. So if someone calls you the Liefeld of that or so, take it as a compliment. Because, my God, someone just said you are like the co-creator of Deadpool. But yeah, I don't know why people call Obari the Liefeld of anime. I don't see the comparisons. They draw so extremely differently. Wait, back to this. Okay, so his critique here is his head and shoulders. So like that's a panel. It's actually a bit further away or so. Like you can clearly see that he actually had to like crop it a little bit to do that. A lot of times Spider-Man's not drawn with that. Like I can name a Spider-Man cover where he's not drawn like that. Like sometimes it just doesn't come through that way. You know, it's fine. Like that thing right there, like that might be a little inking error or so. I don't know. It could be an inking error. I don't know what that is or so. It has a little line around it. So maybe it was an accidental draw. Beats me. I don't know. But all I know is it's not. That's not really a bad drawing. Wow, Spider-Man is leaping onto Juggernaut's head and taunting him, saying, "I'm not gonna give up while fighting you." God, Juggernaut looks cool in Liefeld's art style, though. Okay, how many teeth are in a mouth? Like a billion, right? Okay, fair enough. You can criticize Liefeld for drawing teeth here. Because, I mean, I can tell they're teeth and stuff, but he does draw a lot of teeth in the same way. So, if you want to critique, you know, how many teeth are in someone's mouth, that's fine. You know, I can give him this one. It's just Skids, Blevin, and Magma. They used to be in the New Mutants, but now they're in the dreaded MILF. They look like the same. How can you tell which one's supposed to be Hispanic? No, but then again, what are you implying about Hispanic people? Are you implying all Hispanics are the same color? Are you implying all Hispanics are dark brown? What are you saying about Hispanics? Just saying. I'm just saying. I find it a little weird that he is criticizing Rob Liefeld because he thinks Hispanic people all look a specific way. I'm not saying he's racist. I'm just saying that's a bit of a weird critique, buddy. Okay, next one. Move on to more comfortable ones. Okay. I use holding the sense of the word because holding on to the sense of the word because take up a medium-sized Shatterstar. Shatterstar is flexing, and Cannonball is flying at him while he is like gritting his teeth. Can you imagine how, and he's also criticizing like Shatterstar's hair, how he has like 3 ponytails. I'm like, can I just say this about Shatterstar's look? Shatterstar is from the Mojo-verse. He is a super soldier. I think he's allowed to have as many ponytails as he wants to. Weird critique. Hey, how many ponytails does this super soldier from another dimension actually have? I don't know. I'd be more impressed by the fact that I'm looking at an extra-dimensional super soldier. Okay. Every page is notably bad for being a weird choice of having a hard buttocks in its feature. Again, Liefeld draws him some hard butts. You know, I mean, look at that. Like, you know, Die Hard here got a squat booty. You know, he clearly does his lifts. What's wrong with this image, you might ask? This catchphrase and the fact that Die Hard has a hard butt. Like this is bad because of this phrase right here. And hard butt. What about it? I don't know. It's there, therefore it must be bad. Because Liefeld drew it. I don't get it. They're making the same argument that Extra Credit did about orcs. Yes, they literally were making that argument. That orcs argument was so uncomfortable. I'm glad Extra Credits is finally getting called out for that stuff because I haven't liked them for a long time. Okay, so is she flying, jumping, falling according to movement lines? Only her right calf and form are moving, and not even the same arc. They're moving from one direction. She's also flying. Again, it's almost like if you cut out a panel from a comic book, which I have this issue, mind you, and if you cut out this particular image from one comic book or so, and you cut out the surrounding context of it, you kind of lose what actually is going on. She's flying. I'm surprised he didn't bring up this, how she has an extremely long, like, bicep. And my bicep isn't that long. See? That's kind of a thing. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I didn't even notice it until now, and I've had this issue, like, for years. I didn't even notice it until I actually pulled this up. Not the same arc. They're both coming from the left side, from the same location. Look, if you actually, like, put these together, they're coming from the same location. Right down here. Ah, here we go again. The freaking huge crotches. If that guy's critiquing Liefeld or meh Spider-Man illustration, then what about McFarlane? I had a fetish to draw Spider-Man same squatting pose for a time. Looked like some Russian gopnik high on sunflower seeds. Yeah, actually, it's interesting you bring up Spider-Man for that too, because Spider-Man does do these ridiculous poses where you can see the outline of his crotch a lot. Oh, here we go. I never thought to question Liefeld's sexuality with all the anatomically incorrect women and all. Yeah, the ones that are anatomically correct, but you just nitpick. Again, you're the guy who couldn't tell where someone's left hand was. Like, he's got a snow shovel down there in front of his pants. Yeah, again, like the huge crotch. What is going on with the gloves? Why does everyone on the team wear short sleeves and gloves? I don't know. It's a costume in a superhero book. You are concerned with the attire of a character who can make earthquakes and a character who can make, like, miniature bombs, and you're surprised that they both decide to wear gloves and sleeveless shirts. Like, that is your critique. You know, I can totally believe this person can throw, like, miniature bombs and create seismic destruction and stuff, but why are they wearing gloves? I don't know. Let's ask Terry Bogard. Why does he wear gloves with a sleeveless shirt? Oh, wait, you can't because he's fictional. And he's critiquing how he drew Bart Simpson back here. Okay, for starters, I know you can tell why he drew it like that in the first place, because it's supposed to be Bart Simpson, but it's not supposed to be Bart Simpson because he clearly didn't have the license to do that. They said draw something similar to Bart Simpson or so, but something so different that we could just kind of let it slide so we don't get hit with a lawsuit for including a licensed character. You know, like, do you not know how licenses work, dude? Another Batman Holy Terror. Ah, we don't talk about Holy Terror. A one-act play by Rob Liefeld. Room comprised of screen doors. These are buildings, but, you know, whatever. Like, I can see how you make that complaint or so. It looks like screen doors and stuff, but it's very clearly buildings, seeing they don't line up perfectly. Plus, on top of that, it was established in the previous page. Again, if you cut context out, he's supposed to be in a big business meeting, in a big business room. Room, eyes still closed. And scene. It's like he gets poisoned. That's what happens. Can you tell that he was in a building and got poisoned? Yes? What's the problem? What's wrong with it? Little foot problem. Looking back at the picture of the blonde in the dress and her cooch showing, you know something besides her vag, you moron? Yes, you can't call me a moron when you didn't know about Reaper's left hand, dude. I'm sorry. You lose all points for that. This one looked very uncomfortable, Speedometer especially when one giant leg tapered down to a finger foot trying to dislocate her rib cage. They are standing in a room on their tippy toes. What is so unbelievable about that? I'm not an expert in anthropomorphism or anatomy, if your thing about Reaper is to be believed. Zing. Not the last person to consult when it comes to sexualizing an animal lady, but is the tail supposed to come out of the middle of the butt cheek like that? It looks like that may have been a flub on his part or so, but I don't think a tail placement is hardly anything to criticize a guy for. He probably meant to have it, like, go underneath her little cloth back there, but kind of messed up a little bit. Again, it comes back down to things that you can probably excuse for time constraints. Ah, here's one that's easy to make fun. It's easy to make fun of, or so. There's a page based on Farrell's right leg appearance somewhere in the middle of the sword. Or she is holding it behind her, and she's leaning on one leg against the corner of the door. Hey guys, look. My entire left arm is gone now. No, seriously, it's there. It's not there anymore. It's gone. Okay, one critique you can make fun of Liefeld for is this. Shatterstar's ponytails do kind of vanish in this shot. See? They're kind of gone. Now, you can make the argument that they're supposed to be on the one side and maybe they're obscured by his hand. I would not, for one specific reason. He has ponytails that come out both sides here and one in the back. One is clearly gone here. So, that's a mistake you can criticize him for. But, really, that's a really minor mistake to be going after a guy for. Like, he mostly wears a helmet anyway. No one in Rob Liefeld's world ever just stands like a normal human being. Yeah, you know what? Nobody in comics ever stand around like that and stuff. You want to know why? Because they're supposed to be drawn dramatically. If you just draw someone standing there in your big epic comic book superhero story, it doesn't exactly look dynamic or drawn interestingly. You know? Like it's literally in the same like documentary, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Whenever John Romita Sr. brought up an image of Doctor Doom standing in one spot, and then he drew him again with a much wider stance to convey more energy. People stand around to make it look more dynamic and dramatic. That's the point of making them have wide stances and stand around in interesting spots and positions. It keeps the book more consistently dramatic. You might not think it keeps it consistently dramatic, but that was standard practice, and it kind of still is, actually. And if your critique about Liefeld here is drawing somebody standing with a wide stance, that's a bit silly. Oh man, it says everything and then some. You've got the terrible feet and then being blocked by the terrible grasp of anatomy. Check out David Bowie there with the ridiculous elongated neck offset onto one of her shoulders. Different arm lengths. Clearly, this arm is bending away from us, and her arm, and therefore, when she is twisting at an angle, one perspective gives the impression that one arm is shorter than the other due to the perspective. Hey guys, my right arm is bigger than my left arm. Oh wait, it's not. And that is only one leg. It is clearly two legs because you can see two boots. But Liefeld's a knack of drawing people interacting with things, but not actually drawn as such. You got Cable sitting on some kind of hover bike. Don't think I have such. At least an issue of New Mutants I don't have, because I know this guy wasn't in X-Force. He died before X-Force. Actually, near any supposed controls, except his hands right here. Board page at the bottom there. Scribble, scribble, scribble. It's supposed to be a board he's standing on. I held this picture of my roommates out of context and said, I want to see how long it takes you to figure out what's happening in this panel. He looked at it for about 45 seconds, brow furrow, before timidly offering breakdancing contest. Or, I haven't even read this comic, but I can tell what happened. Just by the fact that Wolverine is crashing into some boxes. Cable flipped him over his head with his legs and threw him into some boxes. Like, I know he's doing a thing where he, cuts out the panel out of context to make it look worse than it actually is and stuff, but very clearly, you can see Cable flipped Wolverine over his legs and made him crash into some boxes. That's why there are boxes flying here, and why it looks like he just crashed into something. Imagine taking something out of context, making a point because your friend couldn't figure out what he was looking at, and then putting it on a list of worst drawings because your friend wasn't able to piece together that someone got flipped over with someone else's legs. I would love to see Rob's take on Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. That'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Have you ever seen like Rob Liefeld's like more recent stuff, like his Snake Eyes comic? It's actually really cool. Okay. Now, one thing I can critique this page for here is that like Shatterstar is supposed to say this or so instead of Warpath, and Warpath is supposed to say something like this. Because the next page, I remember that Warpath is kind of chastising Shatterstar for killing this dude. Now he says there's no way he's pushing that sword in with his palm. Here's a brush. It's really not that hard to do that. And look, I can put some pressure on it too. Come on. No concept of basic human anatomy or physics. Again, you in the left hand of Reaper and you thinking that you can't push in a sword pommel with someone with your hand like that. Imagine getting mad at somebody because you can't figure out that they can hold something with their hand like this. With a 14-finger disabled man who chose to wear a turtleneck and a trench coat with a collar popped in his report in the desert. Wearing a trench coat in the desert is actually not too uncommon, considering that, you know, it keeps dust out of your other clothes. And if you wear a turtleneck, actually, it also keeps dust out of your other clothes, like right here or so. I mean, that makes sense to me. Also, 14 fingers, I count 4. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a thumb. Hot dog on a stick. I would say corn dog. Because that's kind of a tiny microphone, but that's not really a big thing to criticize a guy for. What is with this dude in hands? He just can't figure out. He's been like missing non-stop with the hands thing. First with the left hand with Reaper, then with Shatterstar being able to hold a sword with his hand here, and now with this guy thinking he has 14 fingers when he only has 4. Where do you get the extra 10 from? Okay, here's a part where you can probably criticize Liefeld for, and I think is a fair contention. There's no way that he was meant to be holding this gun. You can clearly see right here. Here, I'll even pull it and zoom in on it. How is he pulling this trigger? So now it's very clear that Liefeld drew him running away, forgot the character was holding this gun, and just kind of drew it behind his hand in his best ways he could make it look like he was holding his gun. Same thing right here with this page. The thumb is very clearly like, you know, it's supposed to be behind it or so, and in this panel it's just completely gone. So this is a fair point. There's no way he's supposed to be holding this gun. Ugh. So that is. So we're ending this one on a bit of an okay. I can concede this point on this first one of the top 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings. This is just the first one, by the way. Again, there are 2 other articles. See, there's 40 more, and they just keep going. And by the way, in case you're wondering if the other articles got better because there was like a 5-year gap between this one's upload and the 2007 ones, no, they are still just as nitpicky. Just because he became, you know, he turned 32 doesn't mean he wasn't still just as hostile towards Rob Liefeld. Doesn't mean that he wasn't just as nitpicky. He was still the same old thing. Yeah. So, and being a comic in general, how little must your life have that matters for you to have that, make that your big crusade? It's just art. It's subjective, targeted at the author, not Danny. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I'm like even like unless it's like the artist who again like put anti-Semitic stuff in the book, that wasn't supposed to be there, by the way. He just put that in there himself. Imagine being that guy who gets mad at a dude because of how he draws feet. Hello, Ranter and Shades. It's going pretty well for me right now. Just going over this stuff. I don't know if I have the energy to continue with more of this, or I should just call it a night, because I've been going on for like an hour and a half, just reading an article, and I don't know if this one would take that long to go through it, because there's 2 other articles. I don't know if I would have it in me to like stream this late. It's still a weekday. I got work in the morning, so I don't know. What do you guys think? You think I should try and power through this one, or you think I should go ahead and call it a night and do another one sometime about this? Because I would love to do all 3 of these articles, and just to show you guys just how nitpicky some of these complaints about Rob Liefeld are. And by the way, let's also end this on a note when it comes to Rob Liefeld's art. Okay? Because he doesn't draw like he does in the 90s. Not anymore. This is how he draws nowadays. Yeah, it's a lot different, isn't it? Here's a Snake Eyes comic I was recommending again earlier. I read this. It's really good. Again, like what I love about Rob Liefeld's art style actually is this. You can, even without his logo right here, I can still tell it's a Rob Liefeld drawing because he has such a recognizable like visual aesthetic. I don't know what it is about Liefeld, but even though it's been 10, 20, 30 years from when he drew like in the 90s or so, you can still tell it's a Liefeld illustration, you know? Like, you can still see that it's Liefeld. You can still tell that it's his art style. And I think that is incredible. Like, no joke. I think it is absolutely amazing that an artist can evolve their art style over the course of decades to keep up with the times, to keep up with people's current tastes, and keep producing relevant books and kind of respond to a lot of his critiques that way, you know? Like he still gets work, and he should still get work. You know, he's been in the industry for a long time, and I think he's probably going to be in it for until he's not able to draw comics anymore. Like, have you ever check out the dude's Twitter? Like, seriously, he is always posting something about comic books. The dude doesn't do anything that here's the thing. That's going to be a bit of a bigger point or so. A lot of people nowadays, when they get into comics, they want to. Oh yeah, the pouch. Yeah, he actually made this as a joke because he's like, yeah, people know me for making pouches, so I'm just gonna draw a character who is a literal like costume as a pouch, and he has a gun that's a pouch, and it shoots pouches. So he's in on the joke. He knows it. So, but imagine, if you will, everybody. Okay, anyways, I was saying about everybody who likes to go into comics nowadays pretty much use comic books as a bit of a stepping stone to get into like Netflix or TV or movies, something like that. They don't, or they use comics as a fallback. They don't use comics as like yep, I'm in the comics industry. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm going to be. I just want to write comics. You don't see many people do that. Not Liefeld. Liefeld, to my knowledge, has never like pitched a Netflix show. Liefeld, to my knowledge, has never like created a book for the express purpose of hoping to get a movie license. He just creates comics. He only creates comics. He is very enthusiastic about comics. Even though comics are not the biggest medium right now, the comics are not selling the best. They are losing money nonstop. DC and Marvel are struggling hard to keep up comic sales. And here's Rob Liefeld, the one guy who gets dunked on by the very industry that he loves. He still loves comic books. He's still out here trying to make comic books. And he's still really enthusiastic. He's telling people how to get into comics. He's still talking about how to produce more comics. He's still trying to get out more books, even though he may not have the budget for it. This guy loves comic books. And in a day and age where people consider comic books as secondary reading and everything is just too preachy, people are turning away from comics more so now than ever before, despite how culturally relevant superheroes are. Rob Liefeld sticks it out. He's not trying to sell you a message. He's not trying to go into politics. He's not trying to go into TV, theater, Netflix, movies, none of that. He's just trying to make comic books because that's what he loves doing. Even though the industry and people still hate him for it and still harass him for it, by God, do I find that the most commendable thing about his character. Liefeld guts it out because he loves this medium. And if you hate his artwork, if you don't like his stories, if you think he's a relic of a bygone era, you're free to think all that. I disagree with you on all those. I think he's a fantastic artist. An artist who is willing to evolve with the industry instead of shy away from it. But you have to give him one thing. He never, ever backs away from comic books. I don't think I'll be able to top that as an outro, even if I kept on going. Okay, so it's like 12 in the morning. It's like 12, a little past midnight here. And I want to thank everybody for showing up to this. Again, there are 3 more of these articles, and on top of that, there's also a lot of videos on there. Before I go, I want to recommend a video. If you guys are still interested in this topic and you're having trouble sleeping, or if you're just, kind of interested in more of this cursory stuff, let's see. Look up this video right here. Panels to Pixels. This guys right here did an excellent video about Rob Liefeld a year ago, where they call him the Kurt Cobain of comics. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but I get why they make that comparison. I don't know what this is. Probably clickbait. I know, I might watch it here in a minute because it's like really short, but I'm not going to watch it while I'm on stream. I don't know what this is. But I highly recommend watching this video right here. It kind of goes over the base history of Rob Liefeld, how he got into comics and stuff, how he became such a recognizable figure in comics, basically. I highly recommend that video. If you don't kind of understand where I'm coming from yet, that video might actually give you a good perspective. It's actually not aggressive at all. Like, it's not like you're stupid and wrong if you don't like big pouchy McGee here with big guns and stuff. It's more like, no. Let's look at this let's frame this in an interesting way. Let's actually like, examine this. Here we have some people who were like disagreeing with him and stuff. I'd probably be inclined to disagree with all of them. I don't know who these guys are. I'm not about to start fights with them. But I do, honest to God, recommend you watch the Panels to Pixels video about Rob Liefeld. I think you'll find it fascinating. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been real fun. We'll have to do this again. See you next time.